Every evening, Noah walked the same road home from work. The street was quiet, lined with old buildings that carried stories in their walls. Most windows were bright with life, televisions glowing, families talking, curtains moving gently. But one window, at the corner of an old building, was always dark, broken, dusty, and forgotten. Noah noticed it every day, even though he never stopped to look at it for long. Noah lived alone in a small rented room. His life was simple and routine. Wake up, go to work, return home, sleep. He rarely spoke to anyone beyond short conversations. After many disappointments in life, he had learned to stay quiet and expect very little. The forgotten window felt familiar to him, as if it reflected something inside his own heart. At first, the window meant nothing. It was just part of the street. But over time, Noah began to feel curious about it. Why was it always dark? Why was it never repaired when everything around it slowly changed? The building looked old, but not empty. Other windows nearby were alive with light. Only this one remained silent. One rainy evening, Noah slowed his steps. The rain made the street shine softly under the streetlights. He stopped for a moment and looked at the forgotten window. The glass was cracked, and dust covered its surface. It felt lonely, like it had been ignored for years. Noah felt a strange connection, as if the window understood him. Noah remembered a time when he also felt invisible, when his efforts were unnoticed and his dreams were slowly forgotten. Life had not been unkind on purpose, but it had not been gentle either. Over time, he had learned to close himself off, just like that window. Days passed, and the forgotten window stayed on his mind. He started noticing small details, the shape of the frame, the old curtain hanging loosely inside, the way light never touched it. It felt like a story waiting to be heard. One evening, curiosity grew stronger than fear. Noah walked closer to the building and stood beneath the window. He noticed a faint movement inside. His heart beat faster. The place was not empty after all. A few days later, Noah gathered courage and knocked on the building's door. An elderly man opened it slowly. His face showed surprise, but also kindness. Noah felt nervous, but explained that he passed by every day and wanted to know if everything was all right. The old man smiled gently and invited Noah inside. The building was quiet and simple. He explained that the forgotten window belonged to his late wife's room. After she passed away, he could not bring himself to fix it or open the curtains. Keeping it dark felt like holding on to her memory. Noah listened silently. The story touched his heart deeply. He realized the window was not forgotten by accident. It was protected by pain and love. Sometimes people leave things broken because healing feels too hard. From that day on, Noah visited the old man occasionally. They talked about life, loss, and memories. The building no longer felt silent. Slowly, trust grew between them. The forgotten window remained closed, but it no longer felt lonely. One morning, the old man surprised Noah by opening the curtains of the window. Light entered the room softly, touching the dusty glass. The window was still cracked, but it was no longer hidden. Both men stood quietly, watching the light fill the space. The old man said that memories should live with light, not darkness. Noah felt those words settle deep inside him. He realized he had also kept parts of himself hidden for too long. That day, Noah returned home with a lighter heart. He opened his own window fully for the first time in years. Fresh air entered his room, and sunlight filled the space. It felt like a small beginning, but a meaningful one. The forgotten window on the street was no longer forgotten. It became a symbol for Noah, a reminder that healing takes time and broken things do not lose their value. Sometimes all they need is patience, courage, and a little light. From that day on, Noah walked the same road, but with different eyes. He understood that every silent place has a story, and every forgotten window is waiting for someone to notice it again. After that day, Noah found himself thinking often about the forgotten window and the old man who lived behind it. Their conversations stayed with him long after he returned home. He realized how easy it was to pass by quiet places and quiet people without ever noticing their stories. Life moved fast, and most people never slowed down enough to look closely.
Noah began to change his routine in small ways. Instead of walking quickly with his head down, he started observing the street around him. He noticed other details he had ignored before: an old shop sign, a lonely bench, a cat resting near a doorway. Each small thing seemed to carry its own silent history. He also continued visiting the old man. Sometimes they talked, and sometimes they simply sat in silence. Noah learned that silence did not always mean emptiness. Often it meant understanding. The old man shared memories of his wife, their simple life, and the happiness they once found in ordinary days. Noah listened with care, knowing how rare it was for someone to open their heart like that. One afternoon, Noah offered to help fix the broken window. The old man hesitated at first, his eyes filled with mixed emotions, but after a long pause, he nodded. They worked slowly, carefully cleaning the glass and repairing the frame. The crack was still visible, but the window looked stronger. It felt honest, not perfect, but real. As they worked, Noah felt something shift inside him. He realized he was also repairing parts of himself. Helping someone else heal made his own pain feel lighter. He no longer felt invisible. He felt useful, present, and connected. When the work was done, they stood back and looked at the window together. Sunlight reflected gently off the glass. It was not the brightest window on the street, but it carried warmth. The old man smiled quietly, and Noah understood that healing does not always erase the past. It simply makes room for the future. In the weeks that followed, Noah noticed that people walking by sometimes glanced at the window. Some slowed their steps. Some smiled softly. The window had become a quiet reminder that not everything broken should be ignored. Noah also began opening himself up to others. He spoke more at work, accepted invitations he once refused, and allowed himself to hope again. Life did not suddenly become perfect, but it felt fuller. The loneliness that once surrounded him began to fade. One evening, as Noah walked home, he looked back at the building one last time. The forgotten window was glowing gently in the fading light. It no longer felt forgotten at all. It felt remembered, respected, and alive. Noah smiled to himself. He understood now that sometimes we are all forgotten windows in some way, waiting quietly for someone to notice us, to listen, and to let a little light in. And sometimes all it takes is one small act of kindness to begin that change.